Resilience is built before the crisis arrives and not during it. One of the most valuable things we do in our work is stress testing. So it might also be user error. So I have a new phone, and I clearly don't know how to use it. But anyway, we move. Okay, thank you. Okay, so one of the most valuable things we do in our work is stress testing. We imagine what can go wrong before it actually happens. What if inflation rises sharply? What if catastrophe losses increase? What if the currency plunges? And that's something we experienced in Nigeria. What if a major operational disruption occurs? If organizations have already explored these scenarios, then when challenges arise, they're not starting from scratch. They already understand the potential impact. They already have response plans, and they recover faster. That is resilience. Many of the most important contributions actuaries make are invisible to the public. The irony is that if we do our jobs exceptionally well, people never realize it. The crisis is avoided, the losses are reduced, and the organization keeps functioning. People rarely notice financial stability. What they notice is instability. So our work helps preventing that instability from occurring. Second, actuaries supporting risk-informed decision-making. One of the most valuable skills actuaries bring is the ability to think probabilistically. That's the ability to actually make decisions when there are uncertain outcomes. Yes, sure, we have lots of footnotes and caveats, but we do make a decision. I've been in many meetings where people have decision paralysis because there's uncertainty in the outcomes. And then a decision can fail to be made completely because of this uncertainty. This lack of a decision may be even worse than making any decision at all. As actuaries, we understand that where there's risk, there is reward. But we need to identify, quantify, and manage those risks. Most people seek certainty. Not uncertainty. But as actuaries, we realize that certainty rarely exists. Instead of asking what will happen, we ask what could happen. What are the possible outcomes? How likely are they? We can quantify the risk. We ask ourselves, what is the downside? What is the upside? What action should we take today to improve tomorrow's outcomes? This mindset becomes increasingly valuable as the world becomes more complex. Leaders will always need to make decisions despite incomplete information. Whether we're discussing investments, climate risks, new products, infrastructure projects, or strategic initiatives, certainty is rarely available. Actuaries can help bring discipline, structure, and analytical rigor to those decisions. The third item is actuaries supporting recovery and growth. So insurance is one of the society's most powerful resilience mechanisms. When a farmer's crops fail, when a business is damaged by flooding, when a family's home is destroyed by fire, recovery is only possible if there's a mechanism to absorb and redistribute the financial loss. Without risk-sharing mechanisms, many individuals and businesses would struggle to recover. And when people struggle to recover, economies struggle to grow. Insurance allows losses to be pooled across society. But this is also where I think that us as actuaries in Africa need to be careful. Sometimes when we talk about insurance penetration in Africa, we act as if risk pooling does not already exist. It does. We've been pooling risk for generations. We simply call it different things. In Kenya, you see chamas. In Ghana, where I'm from, you see Susu. In Nigeria, is Susu or Ajo. I wonder why Nigerians copied Ghanaians in that name. But anyway, these systems exist because people understand the value of collective support. People contribute because they know that one day they may need help themselves. So I'm not suggesting that we throw away our traditions and replace them with important solutions. What I'm suggesting is that we learn from them. As actuaries, we should be studying these systems. We should be asking ourselves, what makes people trust them? What makes them sustainable? How can we build on what already works? Because if someone is contributing 30,000 naira several times a year through an informal pooling arrangement, there may be an opportunity to provide access to significantly greater protection through a larger, more formal risk pool. The challenge is designing products that are affordable, accessible, and trusted by the communities they are intended to serve. That is an actuarial challenge, and it is also a development challenge. It's getting very hot in here. I don't know if there's a... NEPA is failing us, so we move. There's another aspect of insurance that people sometimes overlook. Insurance does not only support recovery, it can also help prevent losses from happening in the first place. Take building collapse as an example. Lagos, unfortunately, experiences a significant number of building collapses every year, about 15 annually in recent years. Now, in a world where every major building project was properly insured from the outset, the insurer will have a vested interest in ensuring construction standards are met. Inspections will take place, corners will be harder to cut, poor practices will be identified earlier, and if standards are not met, insurers would simply walk away. In other words, insurance can improve behavior before a loss occurs, not just compensate people after the loss has happened. That prevention role is often overlooked, but it's an important contributor to resilience. Working within the insurance sector has reinforced for me just how important a role of the insurance is in enabling recovery, encouraging investment, and promoting economic activity. When catastrophes occur, people see the physical damage. What they often do not see is the financial infrastructure supporting recovery behind the scenes. Like reinsurance, which helps to make sure insurers remain able to pay claims and support communities when they're needed most. This financial infrastructure is particularly important in Africa, where significant protection gaps remain and many households and businesses are still financially vulnerable to shocks. Expanding access to effective risk transfer solutions is not simply an insurance objective, it is a development objective. And as African actuaries, we have an opportunity, and I would argue an obligation, to develop solutions that reflect African realities rather than simply importing products from elsewhere. The future of insurance in Africa will not come from copying and pasting what works in London or New York. It will come from understanding Africa, understanding Africans, and designing solutions that fit our realities. Fourth, actually supporting long-term sustainability. Perhaps one of the most distinctive features of our profession is the ability to think long-term. Thank you. See, this is what I was saying. Nigerians are innovative. Never fails you. You find a solution and we move. It's okay. Thank you. So many organizations focus on quarterly results. Political cycles focus on short-term priorities, but actuaries are trained to think decades ahead. We examine slow-moving risks that may take years to emerge, but decades to fully materialize. Many of the greatest challenges facing society are not sudden crises. Populations are aging, there's climate change, healthcare affordability, retirement sustainability. These risks become difficult to manage when action is delayed. So actuaries are well placed to develop data and systems to raise the alarm, to build resilience long before the crisis arrives. Finally, let's cover why Africa needs more actuaries. As an African actuary, this is a topic that's particularly close to my heart. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I work tirelessly alongside actuaries from across the continent to the African Actuarial Development Academy, or ADA. And as Ian said, you should try start a company yourself one day, because you're going to learn a lot. And we've definitely learned a lot from trying to create ADA. When people talk about Africa, they often focus on the challenges. And yes, we certainly have challenges. But I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is underestimating Africa's potential. Africa is one of the most dynamic regions in the world. We have the youngest population of any nation, of any continent, with a median age of approximately 19 years, compared to a global average of around 31, well over 40 in many developed countries. So the median age in Africa is likely less than that of the people in this room. Think about what that means. It means energy, it means innovation, it means a growing workforce, it means decades of economic potential still ahead of us. We're also urbanizing rapidly. According to IMF's most recent projections, 7 out of 10 of the fastest growing economies in the world are expected to be in Africa in 2026. And everywhere I travel across the continent, I see something in addition to this potential. And I was so happy I heard that same word from Ian earlier, and that's entrepreneurial energy. And as we saw also within this room, many of you have your own businesses. And that's amazing, as young as you are. So people are solving problems, because we know here, problem in no go finish, wahala in no go finish, but we move. We see people creating opportunities where none previously existed. Sometimes I look at what Africans have managed to achieve, despite infrastructure gaps, despite financing constraints, despite regulatory challenges, and I cannot help but wonder, what could we achieve if we combined the entrepreneurial spirit with stronger economic infrastructure, stronger institutions, and greater resilience? We are already seeing glimpses of what is possible. So take mobile money, for example. Africans did not simply adapt mobile money. In many ways, we helped redefine what is possible with it. Countries across the continent leapfrogged traditional banking models and built financial ecosystems that attracted global attention. The ability to leapfrog is one of Africa's greatest strengths. But there is challenge, and technology often develops faster than risk management. Innovation often moves faster than governance. But that creates opportunities for actuaries, because every new system, every new product, every new market creates new forms of risk, and that needs to be understood and managed. It's true that at the same time, Africa does face very real challenges. These challenges create risk, but they also create opportunities. Significant opportunities for people who can understand uncertainty, quantify it, and help make better decisions. And how exciting is it that we live in a place with such enormous opportunity? Simply put, Africa needs more actuaries. Not only insurance companies, not only in pension funds, but in government ministries, regulatory bodies, central banks, development finance institutions, and risk management functions across every sector. Because Africa does not simply need more actuaries for insurance. Africa needs more actuaries for development. So personally, I look forward to the day when every African government has the equivalent of a chief risk officer sitting at the highest levels of decision making. Someone whose job is not to predict the future, but to ensure the country is prepared for it. Because resilient organizations need risk professionals, and resilient economies do too. So as I look ahead, I believe our profession stands at an exciting crossroads, with AI, automation, and increasing computer power transforming the workplace. Technology will no doubt change actuarial work. Routine calculations can be automated, but the need for professional judgment, ethics, leadership, and critical thinking will only increase. Models can produce recommendations, but they cannot replace human responsibility. I use AI. I encourage young actuaries to learn AI, but I have yet to see an AI present a recommendation to the board and take responsibility for that outcome. The actuary of the future will not simply be the person with the strongest technical skills. The actuary of the future will be the person who can combine analytics, technology, business understanding, communication, and judgment to help organizations make better decisions. And the actuary of the future will be one that can combine these skills effectively to influence development and help not just companies, but countries build resilience. This will be very important in Africa. So let me leave you with one final reminder. When people think about economic development, they often think about physical infrastructure, roads, ports, and power plants. These are essential, but resilient economies also depend on invisible infrastructure, which is confidence, trust, preparedness, sound decision-making, financial stability. Thanks. I'm not done yet. You just want me to go. Actuaries help build that infrastructure and creates conditions for sustainable prosperity. We're not simply measuring risk, we are helping shape a more resilient future. And if Africa, and more specifically Nigeria, is to realize its enormous potential, we will need more professionals capable of building that resilience. This is the opportunity before you as a profession, and before all of you sitting in this room today. I challenge you to become the resilience engineers of modern economies. Thank you.